Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Weekly Life Wisdom. So far, I've been your host, Zero Yeti. Let's go into it with the first animal week being the Sulcata Tortoise, also known as the African horned tortoise or the African spurt tortoise. It is a species of tortoise which is native to the southern Sahara and northern Sahel regions of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula throughout the countries of Burkina Faso, the Central African Republic, Chad, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Mali, Mauritania, Nigeria, Senegal, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Yemen, Somalia, Algeria, Benin, and Cameroon. Here they inhabit deserts, savannas, and scrublands where they feed upon grasses, shrubs, fruit, roots, flowers, and cacti. Sulcatas are themselves preyed upon, albeit rarely, by hyenas, big cats, canines, monitor lizards, birds of prey, and baboons. The Sulcata tortoise is able to easily survive such arid regions by excavating extensive burrows that can reach upwards of 50 feet deep and nearly 100 feet in length, all in search of food and moisture. Inside said burrows, they can ride out the hottest days in a process called estivation, emerging once again when temperatures cool and conditions become more favorable. Reaching up to 3 feet in length and upwards of 200 pounds in weight, the sulcata is the third largest species of tortoise on Earth, only being surpassed by the Aldabra and Galapagos giant tortoises. They sport yellowish brown to orangish brown dome shells and thick leathery skin. The common name of African spurt tortoise comes from the enlarged pointed scales present on their forelimbs. Breeding occurs just after the rainy season from September through November, during which time males compete with each other for females. 60 days after mating, the female digs a nest that's about 2 feet wide and 6 inches deep. Here she deposits 15 to 30 eggs before covering the nest back up with soil. The young hatch after a 90 to 120 day incubation period, and under ideal conditions, the Sulcata tortoise will reach sexual maturity around 15 years of age and will live up to a century. Next up is the queen angelfish, also known as the blue angelfish, the golden angelfish, or the yellow angelfish, is a species of marine angelfish native to the tropical and subtropical waters of the western Atlantic Ocean, from Florida in the north to Brazil in the south. Here they are found alone or in pairs in and around coral reefs up to 230 feet deep, where they feed upon sponges, tunicates, jellyfish, corals, plankton, and algae. Queen angelfish are themselves preyed upon by sharks and barracudas. Measuring up to 18 inches in length and 3.5 pounds in weight, the queen angelfish has a deep, compressed, oval-shaped body with a short, blunt snout and a small mouth containing bristle-like teeth. As adults, they possess blue-green flanks and yellow edges, and the tail has paired fins that are bright yellow. The anal fins are orangish yellow in coloration, and the back of the dorsal fin is tipped with an orange yellow, as well as the pectoral fins, which additionally have large blue spots at the base. On the forehead, above and behind the eyes, is an oscillating eye-like spot or crown with an electric blue ring surrounding the cobalt blue center and electric blue spots. Juveniles have differing coloration, instead starting out as a dark blue with bright blue vertical stripes and a yellow pectoral area, and they then slowly transition into their adult pattern as they grow. Queen angelfish live in harems consisting of one male and 2 to 4 females within a large territory. Little is known about the sexual development of this species, although it is presumed to be a protogenous hermaphroditic species, as if a male of the harem will disappear, the largest female typically will change sex to become a male. Spawning occurs year-round in accordance to the cycle of the moon, with females being able to discharge between 25 and 75,000 eggs in a single evening. Under ideal conditions, a queen angelfish will live upwards of 20 years. Next up is the barred owl, also known as the northern barred owl, the hoot owl, or the striped owl, is a large species of true owl in the family Strigidae in the genus Strix. It is native throughout much of North America, where they prefer to inhabit old-growth, deciduous, and mixed forests, but are also known to occur in coniferous forests, wetlands, agricultural land, and even semi-urban areas. The barred owl, like most owls, is a nocturnal species which spends the day sleeping inside of tree hollows or on large branches next to a sheltered trunk, emerging just after sunset to hunt prey, particularly rodents, bats, rabbits, and other small mammals, but also amphibians, small reptiles, invertebrates, fish, and smaller birds such as woodpeckers, pigeons, doves, and ruffed grouse. Barred owls are themselves preyed upon by martens, raccoons, American alligators, goshawks, and in particular great horned owls. Barred owls are considered rather large by owl standards, with adults measuring anywhere from 16 to 25 inches in length, 1 to 2.5 pounds in weight, and they sport a 38 to 49-inch wingspan. Barred owls are brown to gray overall in coloration with dark striping on the underside. They are easily recognized by their iconic call of "Who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all?" which has a downward pitch towards the end. Barred owls typically mate for life, with the breeding season occurring from February to March, during which time a nest is typically constructed inside of a hollow trunk of a larger tree or a broken off snag from a larger tree branch. Here the mother will lay 2 to 5 eggs, which she will then incubate for about 28 days until hatching. After hatching, the young are dutifully cared for by both parents until they are about 6 weeks old and fully fledged and can fly rather well, at which point they set off on their own. Under ideal conditions, a barred owl may live upwards of 30 years. Next up is a long-requested species, that being the Siberian tiger, also known as the Amur tiger, the Manchurian tiger. The Korean tiger, or the Usurian tiger, is a subspecies of tiger, being Panthera tigris, that is native throughout eastern Russia, northern China, Mongolia, and the Korean peninsula. Here they inhabit taiga, temperate broadleaf forests, and alpine forests, where they prey upon deer, rabbits, elk, ground birds, moose, goral, boar, pika, salmon, lynx, wolves, and both Eurasian brown and Asiatic black bears. The latter three also occasionally prey upon Siberian tigers. Measuring in at between 8 to 12 feet in length, the Siberian tiger is on average the largest subspecies of tiger and the biggest of the extant big cats. Males are generally heavier than females, reaching 375 to 675 pounds in weight, compared to females at 225 to 375 pounds. This subspecies typically has a reddish, rusty, or rusty yellow coloration with narrow black transverse stripes. They sport a proportionally larger head, shorter legs, and longer tail than other tigers. And Siberian tigers are generally solitary animals, only interacting with each other to mate. Said mating occurs year-round, with individuals signaling when they are reproductively receptive by scent marking and leaving scratches on trees throughout their expansive territories. After a 3-month pregnancy, a mother Siberian tiger gives birth to between 2 and 6 cubs inside a secluded den. Said cubs remain by their mother's side until they are around 2 years old, at which point they will leave to establish their own territory. Under ideal conditions, the Siberian tiger reaches sexual maturity around 3 to 4 years of age and live upwards of 25 years. Next up is the banded coral shrimp, also known as the coral banded shrimp or the banded cleaner shrimp. It is a species of nocturnal shrimp-like decapod belonging to the infant order Stenotodea and the genus Stenopus. The banded coral shrimp has a pan-tropical distribution throughout the western Atlantic. They occur as far north as Canada to as far south as Brazil, with particular abundance in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. In the Indo-Pacific, the banded coral shrimp can be found around Australia and New Zealand. Here they inhabit coral reefs up to 690 feet depth, and they feed upon algae, detritus, snails, carrion, and especially polychaete worms. They are known to eat parasites off of fish and other invertebrates, and in behavior known as cleaning symbiosis, going so far as to actively advertise themselves to passing fish by waving their arms from side to side. The banded coral shrimp are primarily preyed upon by triggerfish and eels, and female coral shrimp are typically larger than males, reaching up to 2.5 feet in length, with both sexes sporting mostly transparent bodies with the exception of their carapace, abdomen, and greater periopods, which are banded with vibrant red and white patterns. The banded coral shrimp, unlike most crustaceans, are not only monogamous, but can actually distinguish between members of their species, forming lifelong pairs and fighting with any other banded shrimp that comes within said pair's 3.5 foot to 7 foot diameter territory. During mating, the male will first display a courtship dance in front of the female. The male then transfers a sperm sac to the female, which she will use to inseminate her eggs, and then stick them to her abdominal legs. The young hatch after 16 days, but remain with their mother for 6 weeks before floating away into the ocean currents. After some weeks and several molts, the young descend and settle upon a new distant reef. Under ideal conditions, a coral banded shrimp will live upwards of 3 years. Next up is the Robinson's mouse opossum, which is a species of opossum in the family Diphyllidae that is native throughout Belize, Colombia, Ecuador, Grenada, Honduras, Panama, Peru, Trinidad, Tobago, and Venezuela. Here they inhabit a variety of habitats, including mangroves, savannas, xenoric shrublands, lowland dry forests, and both lowland and montane rainforests up to 8,500 feet in elevation. A nocturnal species, they spend their days inside of nests located within tree cavities, banana stalks, or abandoned bird nests, emerging at night to feed upon fruit, nectar, insects, arachnids, and other arthropods. Robinson's mouse opossums are themselves preyed upon by snakes, owls, and small felines. They are a sexually dimorphic species, with males being larger at around 5 to 8.5 inches long and 2.5 to 4 ounces in weight, compared to females at 3 to 5 inches long and 1 to 2 ounces in weight. Like other species of mouse opossums, Robinson's mouse opossum is a small, pouchless marsupial with a large membranous ears, prominent eyes, and a mask of dark fur surrounding the eyes, a long, slender, prehensile tail. While the dorsal fur is usually some shade of yellowish or grayish brown, they have a mask of dark black or dark brown fur around the eyes. The ventral fur is typically a pale yellow. Breeding seems to occur in the rainy season, with mothers giving birth to 6 to 14 young after a gestation period of just 14 days. The young remain attached to the mother's teats for 21 days and become fully independent after 60 to 70 days. Under ideal conditions, a Robinson's mouse opossum reaches sexual maturity at around 40 weeks of age and they live upwards of 1 year. And our extinct animal of the week is Carnotaurus, which is a genus of albilisaurid theropod dinosaur that lived throughout the La Colana formation of what is now Argentina during the late Cretaceous period some 72 to 69 million years ago. The only skeleton of Carnotaurus was unearthed in 1984 by an expedition led by Argentinian paleontologist Jose Bonaparte, which also recovered the peculiar spiny sauropod Amargasaurus. The Carnotaurus skeleton, which represents the most complete theropod fossil known from the southern hemisphere, is only missing the posterior 2/3 of the tail and the hind feet, with the rest of the body being so remarkably well preserved that it sported extensive skin impressions. The generic name of Carnotaurus is derived from the Latin carno, meaning flesh, and taurus, meaning bull, and can be translated into meat-eating bull, an allusion to the animal's iconic horns. Reaching up to 26 feet in length and 2 tons in weight, Carnotaurus was a large but lightly built pursuit predator, which possessed a number of features that made it quite unique amongst other large theropods. It sported the shortest and deepest skull of any known theropod, complete with thick, massive brow horns over the eyes. These horns are thought to have acted as display features for communication and possibly used for butting contests with rivals, where the animals would push against each other with said horns. This hypothesis is supported by the Carnotaurus' thick and robust neck. Carnotaurus was further characterized by its small vestigial forelimbs sporting hands of 4 fused fingers, in stark contrast to its long and powerful hind limbs, which, in conjunction with using its insanely thick tail as a muscle attachment lever, meant that Carnotaurus was well adapted for running and capable of reaching speeds upwards of 35 miles per hour for a considerable distance. In life, Carnotaurus would have inhabited estuaries and coastal plains, living alongside and feeding upon lungfish, turtles, plesiosaurs, lizards, snakes, mammals, crocodilians, and other dinosaurs, such as ankylosaurs, hadrosaurs, birds, and a plethora of sauropods. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals.